Do you want Instagrammers or TikTokers to post about your brand? Or do you actually want to engage creators who influence their audience to buy your product? If you're in the latter of those two, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Winfluence, the Influence Marketing Podcast. Hello again, friends. Thanks for tuning in to Winfluence, the Influence Marketing Podcast. We've got another special episode for you today. You may recall a couple of weeks ago, I shared an episode of The Rise, the Community Commerce Marketing Show, in which I talked to author and marketing thought leader Jay Baer about his time to win research. Today, I want to share another episode of The Rise for similar reasons. Mark Schaefer is another marketing industry expert and author. He and I have been friends and collaborators for several years. I've always enjoyed his perspective on the marketing world. He actually authored one of the first big books about influence marketing called Return on Influence. Well worth the read, though it's a few years old now. Well, Mark has a new book out now called Belonging to the Brand. The subtitle of his book is Why Community is the Last Great Marketing Strategy. As you might expect for a guy who leads marketing for Scipio.ai, which is the community commerce marketing company, this book immediately won me over. It's chock full of goodness, so having Mark on The Rise was a no-brainer. But his insights and ideas are very relevant for us on Winfluence too. Your content creators and influencers you work with are extensions of your community. If you do it well, they become beacons both in and for your community to stay connected, engaged, and informed. Today, we're going to watch and listen to that episode of The Rise and learn more about Mark's new book, his take on why community is the last great marketing strategy, and a lot more. And in case you missed it, I took on the challenge of becoming the Executive Vice President for Marketing at Scipio.ai in November. We've since launched a content strategy to help educate the market, and that means all of you, on the concept of community commerce marketing. That's activities that help brands grow by working through its community of customers, fans, followers, employees, and more as a starting point. The Rise, the Community Commerce Marketing Show, is our weekly interview series with thought leaders and experts from the world of marketing, business, sales, e-commerce, and community building. The underlying focus is to make the audience smarter about leveraging community to drive their brand's growth. Influence marketing is a part of it. Scipio.ai even has a dandy influence marketing software solution that starts with your brand community as influencers, but the show goes beyond that into topics we wouldn't normally cover here on Winfluence. You can subscribe to The Rise at Scipio.ai/podcast or by searching for The Rise, the Community Commerce Marketing Show, wherever you get your podcasts. The shows also stream each Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on Scipio.ai's LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter channels. I often simulcast it on my Twitter channel as well at Jason Falls. Make a note on your calendar to check that out if you're interested. Today, though, you don't have to do anything more than you're doing now. I'm going to play an episode of The Rise from a couple of weeks back when my pal Mark Schaefer came on to talk about belonging to the brand. Those of you watching will see a replay of that stream in full Technicolor. Those of you listening on the podcast feed will hear the full episode as well. I'll come on after, as I usually do, to share some final thoughts. So prepare yourselves. After the break, you're going to come back to different music and a different show as we share Mark Schaefer's episode of The Rise, the Community Commerce Marketing Show. That's next on Winfluence. If your brand could use more effective and efficient ways to ignite growth, you've come to the right place. This is where smart marketers learn to leverage their own community to ignite growth in sales, awareness, and beyond. Welcome to The Rise, the Community Commerce Marketing Show. I'm your host, Jason Falls. We are exploring the new and exciting category of marketing strategy, automation, and software called community commerce marketing. At the core of that, of course, is the focus on community. No one knows that topic better than Mark Schaefer. His new book, Belonging to the Brand. I have a fine, handy, dandy yellow copy of it right here in my greedy little hands. Belonging to the Brand is a treatise on why and how community is the last great marketing strategy. So if you're looking for the why behind community or even community commerce marketing. You're going to hear a lot of that today from Mark Schaefer. Get ready to take some notes. Before we do bring Mark to the show, however, please take a moment, if you haven't already, to follow and subscribe to The Rise. It's a new streaming video show and podcast from Scipio.ai, the leading community commerce marketing platform. Follow Scipio.ai on LinkedIn or YouTube for the live show. We also post the audio afterwards as a podcast, so subscribe to it wherever you get your podcasts. As you have come accustomed, if you are a regular viewer or listener to the show, our goal here is to make very efficient use of your time, especially if you're watching live during the workday. So we like to dive right in. Mark Schaefer is the multiple times best-selling author of books like The Marketing Rebellion, The Content Code, Known, Return on Influence, and more. His latest book, Belonging to the Brand, is out now on the Amazons and the Audibles and all those other places. Always good to catch up with a fellow Mountaineer and Pittsburgh fan, Mr. Schaefer. How are you today?
Oh, it's so good to see you. And you and I have been friends for so long. You were one of my first social media friends. So it's always a delight to see you and talk to you live.
Well, same here, Mark. I love it when you come out with a new book and you churn these things out every 9 months or so. It's always great to have you back to
Not
talk
exactly.
talk about your latest tome on the market, which are always full of great insights. I want to dive right into this one. Belonging to the Brand makes a great point that community really is the last great marketing strategy, but you also explain in the book that the societal trends of the day, the incredible speed of technology advancements, even the shifting demographics of our world really dictate that community means something different to brands now than maybe even just 5 years ago. Tell us what a brand's new reimagined community strategy might be and why.
Yeah. Well, basically, this book is the business case for your platform.
That's why you're here.
Yeah. Jason ain't no dummy. uh, well, look, I think why people have sort of what I'm known for, I would guess, is that I tend to be able to see how trends come together. I'm usually about 2 years ahead of my time. And I see right now these three trends coming together. One, I explored in a lot of detail in Marketing Rebellion, where I said our traditional ways of marketing just don't work anymore. We're in a streaming society. We need to look for new ways to connect to our customers in a meaningful way. Number two, there's a lot of changes in technology right now. Millions of dollars are going into Web3, NFTs, metaverse, all these, confusing terms. Nobody really knows what they are. But if you cut through the jargon, it's all about finding new ways to belong, right? New platforms, new ways to belong, right? It's making it easy to get people together. Number three, I think the biggest mega trend impacting business for at least the next 10 years is going to be mental health. It's already showing up. It's showing up in ads. It's showing up in strategies. We've got this thing about quiet quitting, the great resignation. I mean, it's massive, right? And the thing about this idea of community, these three megatrends suggest community is the next big thing. And I'm not a bragging person, but I'll do a tiny little mic drop moment for you. When I wrote the last words of the book, ready to publish this thing, that day, Jason, McKinsey came out with a major research report that said community is the next big thing in marketing. Boom. So, I mean, I'm really sure that I'm right, that this is the right idea for the right time. Why is this different? Because community isn't new. It's different because businesses almost never look at community through the lens of brand strategy. Community is almost always looked at as transactional, customer self-service. Oh, you have problems with your software? Go over there. They're missing the big picture. What about co-creation, collaboration, customer advocacy, collecting information, building trust, building this bond, creating this emotional layer of switching costs. We don't want to leave this community because we belong to this brand.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what's new about this book. It looks at community through the lens of brand marketing for the first time.
Very nice. So, on that note, brand marketers still think in terms of quarters and campaigns and product launches. None of those have as much relevance within a community. How does a brand shift its thinking from the time bound, episodic pulse of product marketing to a more community centric focus? Or do they have to? Can these two approaches coexist in consumer engagement?
Not really. Because it's as you say, Jason, most marketing is ephemeral. We have an ad and then we don't, and we have money and we have a campaign and the money runs out, and then we try something else. But with a community, there's an implied social contract. Now, that's not to say that you can't experiment, and try, see how it goes. But once you get a community going, there's an expectation you're going to keep it going. So there are a lot of aspects to community that challenge the traditional marketing mindset about, this is not about meeting your quarterly sales goals.
Mhm.
If nobody wants to gather every week or every day for that reason. It's about some shared purpose and intersection of what you want to accomplish in this world and what your customers want to accomplish in this world. And that's, you can have a bigger impact if you bring your customers along with you, and they can have a bigger impact if they have you there too. So there really is a different mindset in terms of leading the community, nurturing, sustaining the community, funding the community, that's off the rails from a lot of traditional views of marketing.
So I'm a CMO and I'm hearing this and thinking, okay, that's a good argument for community, but I still have shareholders and stakeholders to report to. I still have to hit
Mhm.
quarterly numbers. I
Yeah.
still have to sell things. What are the practical steps of intertwining those two things, or should they be built out separately? And how does a marketing manager, a CMO, or a CEO manage that?
Well, the big difference is really viewing this through brand marketing. And one of the case studies I have in the book is Gatorade versus Powerade. So, you're a big sports fan like I
Mhm.
am. And, when the Mountaineers win a big game, the players take that big vat of Gatorade, they sneak up on the coach and they pour it over his head. And everyone's waiting for it. It's always on TV. Let me tell you something interesting, Jason, that happened. I was watching the college football playoffs, and it was very unusual. The sideline was sponsored by Powerade.
Mhm.
So they've got this big vat of Powerade. They're sneaking up on the coach. Here's what the broadcast team said. Here comes the Gatorade bath,
Yep.
right? Gatorade has 80% market share of a $30 billion sports drink market because they connect themselves to sports culture. It's not about coupons. It's not about, end of aisle displays. It's about becoming relevant in sports culture. Now,
Mhm.
I will also say they charge twice as much on the store shelf as Powerade. Powerade is a distant, 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 distant second. So
Yep.
they've got to fight every day. They've got to do coupons and they've got to do branded content and SEO and all this stuff, right? Now, does the Gatorade bath, does that sell more Gatorade? The answer is yes,
Mhm.
because that's brand marketing. Can we measure it? No. We've got to look at other things, right? The money will come, and so in this book, I kind of like say to really succeed, and you're creating collaboration, co-creation, you're creating brand advocacy, you're building loyalty. Those things are hard to measure. And here's our choice. And this is the choice that Gatorade made. You can keep up with the pulse of culture or you can measure.
Mm.
Probably can't do both. And so what I would say for marketers, CMOs trying to like get over this hurdle, take 10% of your budget and experiment. Take 15% of your budget and try new things that might be more difficult to measure. The biggest community, it might be the biggest brand community in the world is Sephora. Sephora, they've got brick and mortar stores everywhere. cosmetics and
Hmm.
skincare, 80% of their revenue comes through their community.
Wow.
Here is their number one metric: engagement. Now, you and I have been around long enough. We're past engagement,
Yeah.
right? In the early days, you and I were out there saying, "Oh yeah, engagement." And they said, we can do better than that with
Yeah.
social media, right? But with community engagement is like, are we relevant? Are we connecting? Are people excited? Are we doing something in this community that will spur people to share it outside the community? Now, you've got brand advocacy. That's more powerful. That's Winfluence, right?
Hmm.
You've got organic consumer advocacy. That is more powerful than any ad you will ever take out. So you've got to just look at it through a different lens.
Yeah.
And yes, it can be disorienting, but when increasingly our traditional marketing and advertising, we're living in a streaming economy. Nobody even sees your ads anymore. We've
Hmm.
got to start looking at new ideas, and I think this is one we should begin experimenting with.
Don't disagree with you at all, of course. I want to bring up something you mentioned a little bit earlier with the metaverse and NFTs and all this Web 3.0 stuff. And you even, alluded to earlier that, none of us really know what any of that means, which is true in my case for sure. But you say in the book that Web 3.0 components like the metaverse and NFTs change the game for community strategy. I need some help on this one because I still see NFTs as non-essential baseball card like collectibles that, sure, some people are going to see value in, but most people won't. And the
Yeah.
metaverse to me is still a distraction for people who dig video games or cool tech, but the adoption gap makes it hard for marketing campaigns to build marketing campaigns around unless your audience is gamers or tech heads. Why are you bullish on these as they connect to community?
Yeah, I think it's funny. You describe NFTs as non-essential baseball cards versus essential baseball cards. A man after my own heart.
Yeah.
Okay, there's two big ideas as I talk about the future of community toward the end of the book. Here's number one. So Web3, NFTs, metaverse are being adopted aggressively by Gen Z.
Okay.
And Gen Z, they're not babies. We just had our first Gen Z elected to Congress. They're buying stuff.
Hmm.
In the next 5 years, they're going to be leading stuff. So, number one is that they are meeting in new places like Discord, like Twitch, like the metaverse. They're piling in. I saw a statistic yesterday, Jason. 38% of Gen Z said they participate in a meaningful community on Discord. Guess what? When you go to Sprinkler or Sprout or your social listening platform, you're not getting Discord.
Mm-mm.
You're not getting the metaverse. So they are blockading themselves in digital campfires. They don't want to be found. So month by month by month, social listening platforms are becoming obsolete. So you need to get ahead of the curve and start thinking about, what's going to replace this. And I don't certainly have the answers, but all I'm saying is, in this book, I'm putting out a new roadmap saying, here are new roads customers are going down. How are you going to adjust? So number one, these younger consumers are blockading themselves in these secret places they don't want to be found. Number two, we're going to be challenged not just detecting them and seeing what they're doing, but how do we show up? So, there's examples in the book of like Vans, the sportswear, apparel brand, how
Hmm.
they're creating activations in the metaverse. They're creating activations, associated with different sporting events and with different personalities and influencers. So, look, these are still early days, but it's coming because Gen Z is moving fast as a major force in our economy. And this is their place. So we've got to understand it. I mean, there's a case study in the book. One of the fastest communities that's ever been built. It's completely built on NFTs. You own an NFT, you get access to this community. An NFT is like a contract. It
Mhm.
makes you feel special. And if you belong to this community, they keep adding things to the contract that
Mhm.
make you more special. They're awarding status to you by giving you special NFTs that give you status in a community. Status, that's an important part of this whole mental health issue. People feel acknowledged,
Yeah.
they feel heard, they feel seen. So creating an NFT based community can help address that.
Nice. So we spend a lot of time at Scipio, obviously, talking about building out applications to help brands tap into the power of community and community commerce marketing. We believe real strongly, obviously, in community as a strategy. You talk in the book about the powerful benefits that a community strategy can bring to a brand. You've touched on many of them here, but you also touch on ones that are often overlooked. Let's say I'm a brand CEO and you're trying to illustrate what my business can get out of a community focused strategy that aren't the obvious things. What are some of those hidden benefits that brands may not see?
Let me answer that by talking about a personal example.
Okay.
So I have a community that's dedicated to learning about the future of marketing. So, I have a business, I have a brand, and I thought, well, because people like me and they want to be part of this community, they must be interested in what I'm interested in. So I'll set up these chat rooms about personal branding, writing books, giving speeches. Here's what happened. People came in this community, and after a year or so, those are the emptiest rooms in the community because the community said, nope, we're going this way. We need to learn about artificial intelligence. We need to learn about metaverse. Let's create experiments in the metaverse. Let's learn how to give presentations in the metaverse. Let's learn about NFTs. Let's create a podcast together. Jason, every blog post I write, every speech I give has an idea that came out of that community first. It has become my university. Now, think about scaling that to a brand.
Mm.
You've got ideas from passionate people all over the world pushing you, pulling you, inspiring you in new ways. Is that going to make you more relevant? Is that going to provide new ideas for new products, new services? Little example. Lego just came out with a whole new product line that is meant to compete with jigsaw puzzles. They say, all right, over the holidays, an American tradition, you get out the jigsaw puzzle and the whole family, and they'll come back and they'll leave it out. Why couldn't we do that with Lego? They've created Lego creations that are like baskets of flowers, baskets of succulents, right? So it's more adult. And this whole product line came from the community. They're sharing the profits with the community, right? Now, it's just mind blowing. It's
Mhm.
just there's nothing like it to just be constantly barraged with new ideas and challenges from people who love you and want to support you and want you to do better. And I mean, that's one of the things that I didn't really expect. That it's an unexpected benefit for me, my company, and my brand. And I mean, it's just like I don't even really make anything. If you're a company that really makes shit, am I allowed to say shit? Just
Yeah,
kidding.
sure. Why not?
Uh, if you're a company that really makes stuff, I mean, I don't know how you're going to be relevant without a community. And
Yeah.
here's something that's inspiring. 85% of tech startups, like the Gen Z people, they're starting these new companies, 85% are leading with community as their marketing strategy
Yeah.
because they want that support. They want the beta testers. They want the feedback. They want the new ideas. They
Mhm.
want people that are going to say, yes, I'm part of this. I'm going to present this to the world. So yeah, there's just incredibly exciting opportunities.
Good stuff. Always good stuff from Mark Schaefer. Mark, where can people find the new book and you on the interwebs?
You can find everything about me at businessesgrow.com. and you can find my book, you can find my podcast, my blog, and all my social connections. And yeah, so no one can remember how to spell Schaefer, but businesses grow. I know that's pretty easy to remember.
Well, we're going to make sure we drop all those links into the comment section here on the live feed on YouTube and LinkedIn, so you can always find it. Here's the book again. I'll cover my own face with this: Belonging to the Brand, Why Marketing or Why Community is the Last Great Marketing Strategy. Mark Schaefer, ladies and gentlemen, always a pleasure to have you here to chat with, sir. Appreciate your wisdom and your leadership. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you, Jason.
All right. Mark Schaefer, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Great to have him on the show. Always good. Go buy this book. This Mark has long been one of the leading edge thinkers in the space, and Belonging to the Brand really lays a healthy foundation for you to build upon. So great stuff there. We'll drop the links to Mark's website, the Amazon page for the book, LinkedIn, and the Marketing Companion podcast, which you should subscribe to, by the way, as well, that he has run for many, many years. We'll drop all those links in the comment section on YouTube and LinkedIn, so check that out. A quick note for everyone listening: we will be hosting a free webinar on Friday called Unlocking the Power of Community Influence to Grow Your Brand. It's a look at our concept of influence marketing through your own brand community. That webinar will be live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And just like this podcast, we've tried to create it so it'll take about 20 to 30 minutes tops, including Q&A time, making efficient use of your workday. Register for free at bit.ly/community influence. That's bit.ly/community influence. Do join us. We'll show you a little bit of our community influence marketing platform there too. You'll get some new ideas on how to approach influence marketing a bit more efficiently and effectively than you've likely thought before. Thank you so much for joining us for The Rise, the Community Commerce Marketing Show, where we document the rise of this exciting new category of marketing strategy, automation, and software that is community commerce marketing. We know you want to bring community commerce marketing strategies to your business. Just visit us at Scipio.ai and hit the demo button in the upper right corner. Rise is Scipio.ai. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn or YouTube so you never miss the broadcast. You can also subscribe to the show's audio on demand. Just search for The Rise, the Community Commerce Marketing Show, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for being part of our community. We'll see you soon on another episode of The Rise, Community Commerce Marketing Show. And that, my friends, was an episode of The Rise, the Community Commerce Marketing Show, a new weekly video and audio program hosted by me and available by following Scipio.ai on LinkedIn or YouTube. You can also subscribe to the audio version on demand wherever you get your podcasts. We've built a handy menu to make that easier, though. Just go to Scipio.ai/podcast for a quick subscription link to Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. And many thanks again to Mark Schaefer for the continued wisdom and inspiration for our overall marketing journey. You can find him at all those places listed in the show. We'll make sure the links are also in the show notes at jasonfalls.co/Mark Schaefer. And that's SCHAEFER. Mark Schaefer, jasonfalls.co/Mark Schaefer for the Winfluence audience to see as well. Hey, if you enjoy Winfluence, help us grow and tell someone about the show. You probably know someone who might want to know more about influence marketing. Send them to winfluencepod.com or share a link to this episode on your social network of choice. If you have a moment, drop Winfluence a rating or review on your favorite podcast app. We're on them all. The show is now on video as well. Just look for Jason Falls Winfluence on YouTube to see the show as well as hear it. Winfluence is a production of Falls & Partners and presented by Scipio.ai. The technical production is by MPN Studios. Winfluence airs along MPN, the Marketing Podcast Network. Thanks for listening, folks. Let's talk again soon on Winfluence.